can you become a millionaire on minimum wage, and if so, how long would it take? Let's find out. I'm going to use the UK scenario as an example. So in the UK, minimum wage for age 21 or over is around £11.44, according to acas.org.uk. I thought it was like 7 or 8, but okay, £11.44. In a full-time job where you're working, let's say 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that would be around £1,830 a month. Now let's see how much income tax and national insurance you would pay. So your take-home pay monthly would be just under £1,600 at £1595.25. I'm just gonna leave out the pennies. So £1,595 a month. That's after £80 a month of national insurance. So now we're gonna calculate the other expenses to deduct them from this take-home pay. And one thing you need to keep in mind is that if you are on minimum wage, you cannot be living on maximum wage lifestyle. So if you are earning minimum wage, you're going to have to live within and in fact below your means. From what I see, it seems that you can rent a place for around £800 a month. Now that can be less if you're like doing a flat share with other people. It can potentially be like a lot less than that. But let's just go with 800 for now and see what happens. So that leaves you with £795 a month for the rest of your expenses. So the average amount spent on food per month per person is just under £200. But if you are on minimum wage, you are below average. So let's say you can spend around £120 per month. So now you have £675 left. So average spend on public transport per month, which is probably what you'll be using if you're on minimum wage, is around £63 or £14.50 a week, which is around £2 a day on every day of the week, which I guess it's like kind of makes sense. So we'll stick with the average. We're not going to go like below that. So we'll deduct £63. If you have a student loan and you're on minimum wage, I don't think you'd have to be paying it back on this income. So we're not going to add that for now because this video is strictly for people on minimum wage or maybe a little bit above minimum wage. The idea of this video is to show that everyone can save money and invest it. Many people who, some are high earners, some are low earners, some are minimum wage, whatever, and everyone is just equally saying that no one has any savings and no one can save money and all their money is finishing. When I've gone into people's budgets and actually looked at what they're spending their money on and where it's going, there always tends to be a lot of unnecessary expenses that they could very easily do without. And a lot of the time it's changes that wouldn't even affect their lifestyle that much. Utility bills, including gas, electricity, water, things like that, let's just say around 100 a month. A TV license, let's say £40 a month. Wi-Fi, let's say around £20 a month. So after we've done transport, food, rent, utilities, Wi-Fi, we still have £452 a month left. And this is considering that this is all for one person only. Your mobile SIM, you can do it in like less than £10 a month. But let's just say £10 a month in case you need data and you need like minutes for your work or something like that. So let's just do £10. You can do it in £10. You don't need 50 GB a month or unlimited data or whatever, especially if you're on minimum wage. Now let's say you want to have fun and buy some clothes and go to the pub or do whatever stuff people do. Let's say you put around £100 a month for that. You will have to be reasonable. You can't be spending like £1,500 a month on having fun. So £100 a month is around £25 a week. That's definitely reasonable for like a brunch or something like that, especially outside London. Even inside London, I'm sure you can find some places. In fact, I'm pretty sure there are places that do like a brunch or something for like that much. Maybe not like Nobu brunch, but still any like normal kind of brunch. And let's even take away another £100 a month for miscellaneous things. If something comes up, if you want to give charity, if you want to, like, I don't know, if you want to buy some like appliance or buy something like that you don't always buy, or something like that, or you get a fine or a parking ticket or something. Let's just put like an extra 100. Let's just throw it in there. So healthcare in the UK would be free because you'd use the NHS. A lot of things are free, like schools are free, university you can whatever get a loan or something. If you're using public transport or taxis, or like the taxi is the odd time that you needed a car or something, instead of owning a car, then you don't have to worry about car insurance and petrol and parking and fines and things like that, and car maintenance. And so cars come with a whole bunch of costs that you're avoiding because you're just using public transport. So now, after all these expenses, and I did give some leeway, like 100 for miscellaneous things, 100 for, I forgot what the other thing was, but anyway, so you still have like £242 left. Now, if you were to invest this £242 every month, nothing in this video is financial advice and it's for entertainment purposes only, into an index fund. If you were to put this in like an ISA so that you don't pay any tax on it, so the S&P 500 has like an average return over the last like 30 years or something around like 10% a year, like on average. Like some years it might be 30%, some years it might be minus 5%, some years 15%. Overall the average is around 9-10%. So let's say you have no capital from before, you have no savings, you have zero right now, you're just waiting for your next paycheck. So your initial investment will be £242, which is the leftover from your salary, and you are contributing every month £242, and you're getting 10% a year. So in around 38 years from when you start, you would hit £1 million. Your ISA or your investment portfolio or whatever it is would hit £1 million. So let's say right now you're like 20 and you're working a minimum wage job, or let's say you're like 25. So that would mean that when you are around 60, you would have £1 million in cash. I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, I don't care about having £1 million in cash when I'm 60. But I mean, in reality, you're not going to get £1 million in cash at 25 when you're on minimum wage. It's just the reality of how it is. But if you do your budgeting right and you try to spend within these amounts, and you try to put, let's say, £240 a month into like an index fund, which I'm saying index fund because I am not assuming that you are very savvy with investing and you know what you're doing. So just an index fund that does everything for you. You just put your money in it and you sleep. The more you try to increase the amount that you're putting in, so if you get like a pay rise, you shouldn't start spending more, you should start investing more. So while it might not be the best news that you'll be a millionaire at 60, you would at least have £10,000 to your name in like the next 4 years, 20,000 to your name in just 2 more years after that. In the next 16 years, when you're, let's say, like approaching 40, you'd have around £100,000 to your name. So for example, like, who said you have to wait till you're 60 to cash that out? But it's the idea is there, and you could, for example, when you're like 45, pull out the money and maybe try to buy a house or something with £300,000 or something like that. You could buy a house in like some places in the north or in Scotland. Like, you could buy them in like cash for that money, and then you could live there in that house that you've just bought, remove the whole rent from your expenses, and continue working even if it's minimum wage and investing, and just keep increasing your money that way. So consistency is actually very important, and consistently putting even a small amount of money away every month. Don't underestimate it and think that, oh, I'll never have 100,000 or £1 million to my name because that's just too high and I only get £10 an hour or something like that. Because it is definitely doable, and yes, it's a lower wage and it would take more time because of that. That's just how it is. So you just try to do what you can. You can also try to build on your skills. You can try to get a promotion. You could try to look for a better job. You could even consider moving to another country where you could live for a lot cheaper and a better quality of life, especially if you could find, let's say it's still a minimum wage job but it's like remote or something like that. You could go and live somewhere that's way cheaper. That way you would have a better quality of life, better goods and services, and for the money that you're paying. And basically you don't have to go by everyone else's mold of life, you know. You can always just try to just find what works best for you. So anyway, that's the end of today's video. I'm planning to make a video on like actual budgeting maybe in the future. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. If you like this video, please like and share and comment and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts, if you agreed or disagreed, or if there's more expenses that I missed out on, or if you have any issues with what I said. I have no problem in hearing your thoughts. Yeah, I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you next week.